What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today when I talk to you about Faraday Future, I want to go over some of the current data points, what's been coming out from the company itself, and what needs to happen for this company to be saved. So I'm going to go over all that, but first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So Faraday is down 6.25%. There was a new low created at 13.3 cents. So crazy stuff. This sell-off more so is a byproduct due to this. So China weighs a stock market rescue package backed by $278 billion. So this is kind of good, but at the same time, very negative because this does show a broader concern and fear coming out from China. And now this is the second strike essentially because China did come out with their GDP numbers 2 weeks ago and they did not come in line with the forecast. So kind of showing a sense of slowing. So this is kind of strike number 2. So overall things aren't necessarily the best. Coming from Faraday, this was the latest news coming out on January the 21st. So Faraday Future completes nearly 1,600 over-the-air updates and product enhancements and whatever else. So I think this is kind of a good thing. It's showcasing their technology, but at this stage in the game, almost everyone seems to have some variation of this. I don't know. Faraday has been trying. I've said this in the past and I feel really bad the fact that a lot of investors are still getting into this. Based on Faraday, you can kind of see right here, just going to the overview, this is the breakdown. So 85% of the float is being held by retail, 2.14% is being held by institutions, and 12.54% is held by strategic entities. So retail is getting screwed royally, and even more so if we go over here looking at the reverse stock splits. So they did one in August, I guess August the 28th, a 1 for 80. They do have a upcoming shareholder meeting which is proposing another 1 for 3, and like I said in my last video, that's not going to cut it. Even if they do a 1 for 3, they're not going to rectify any deficiencies right here. If anything, it's going to escalate it because Faraday is very, very close to it getting to around 10 cents. And when a stock is below 10 cents for 10 consecutive trading days, there goes another rule that they are breaking from the NASDAQ. So things are just not working out for Faraday, and plus it right here. So rule 5810C3 sub A. So that's if a company is trading below 10 cents for 10 consecutive trading days. So it's very, very sticky and things are not turning right for Faraday. So once again, I'm going to talk near the tail end of the video what needs to be really done to save Faraday. And interestingly enough, shorts are returning 605,000 shares. 31.36% of the free float is being shorted. 35.86 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is 33.58%. So that is kind of in line with yesterday. And through Interactive Broker, short availability does indicate that there is 0 shares available to be shorted. So shorts are taking advantage of the bloodbath today and returning some shares, and it just sucks because shorts have dictated where Faraday is going to go for a very long time. And one thing to note, I know a lot of people really do like technicals. Based on this, I'll quickly go over here, so Trading Central. So it does show that it is anticipated to go to around 10 cents in the short term, which is kind of crazy. Once again, kind of piggybacks, or I guess is more of a red flag associated to this. But moving on though, I'll talk on some other things before I go over the plan, or maybe the bigger, or what might be coming ultimately. But $246 in calls being purchased versus 248 in puts. Sentiment wise, 65% of all the options being done are bearish. So Faraday, I feel like any retail that still owns Faraday, which is a pretty substantial amount. I'll go over the ownership for a second. So right here, strategic entities, other is 108.55 million. So most retail has heavy bags associated to holding Faraday, and probably majority of them are too much at a loss to even bother selling, because going over here over the last 1 year, down 99.81%. So most of them are just going to hold it until it goes to OTC or just whatever else. And even you can tell the dollar value on the options has just dropped. Nobody is even paying attention to Faraday. And this is where in the past, I think Faraday has dropped the ball significantly. Clearly they're getting manipulated. They just didn't really do too much. They dangled a little bit of a carrot in front of retail where it said, hey, we're going to be starting a lawsuit. We're going to be identified manipulation. So it kind of hyped up a lot of retail, got them in, and nothing really came from that. And like I've said in the past, one very big red flag that I really want to say F you to this company for doing is they said that the upper management did buy into Faraday, and so far there has been yet to be zero like Form 4s. So it is fair to assume that they have not bought a single share, because they were supposed to offset their income, right? 50% of their income. This was announced, I think, in September, and based on SEC filings, there has been absolutely nothing. So I don't know. I'm surprised there isn't a lawsuit that is launched against this company already. Unless there is, I'm not really sure. But moving on though, talking on, like I said, options. Of the options that are being purchased, there's a consensus for it to be above 50 cents. And of course, how it is right now, there's no point in really talking about puts. And going over here, so 13.5 cents, it did kind of luckily enough retrace back into this S3 to this S2, but it did create that new low today. So 13.5 cents is going to be that next strong support that you'll really want to watch for Faraday to hold. Vice versa, 14.7 and then 15.4. But no matter what, I do feel like Faraday's fate is kind of set in stone a little bit, if that makes sense. So this leads me to my next point. So Faraday, right now it does have a market cap of 17.13 million. So when it comes down to Faraday, if you want to factor in their new technological updates and just maybe the operations behind it, I'm sure a lot of that is worth more than 17 million. Even based on the latest Morningstar report right over here under Interactive Brokers, it does show the fair market value, meaning Faraday's assets, is roughly about 45 cents. If you are looking for a lot of good compiled information, such as everything I've shown you, take a look at Interactive Brokers for all this information to be completely free. So take advantage of that. But still, back to my point, 45 cents. So in theory, Faraday is at a pretty substantial discount. So logically, a big OEM that maybe doesn't want to put all the effort into maybe technology and investing, why not just pay 17? Or if you pay a premium, because normally takeovers, you pay about a 20 to 30% premium over current market prices, which isn't much if you think about it. But aside from that though, a big OEM might come in and be like, hey, you know what? Let's just buy Faraday. Or potentially Saudi Arabia does have that big Saudi 2030 vision, right? And so technically, especially with Faraday's recent connections with the Middle East, it might be advantageous for Saudi Arabia or the PIF just to outright buy Faraday. Even though they're burning through a lot of cash, like I feel like they would just want to scrap it and take from what they will from the business. So that might be the next logical thing to save the company, is just a takeover. So who knows? We'll just have to sit tight and wait. Coming from a retail investor standpoint, it's a bloodbath and it's very difficult to say if you'll ever regain your investment back. Most of the time, a lot of these growth stocks is very high risk, and so far this one has not panned out. So we'll just have to sit tight and wait, but it's definitely so far not really working out. And with all these red flags popping out from China, I feel like that's just going to make things so much worse. Let me know your thoughts on Faraday. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What have you been doing with Faraday? Or are you one of those individuals, like I mentioned, that is down like 99.81%? So there's no real point in kind of selling. Or what's your thoughts? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. And even though Faraday is down almost 100%, take advantage of this promo. You get some free shares. Sign up for an account with Moomoo, throw $100 at it, and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So take advantage of this while you can. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.